Someone said, an eye for an eye can make the whole world go blind. And I agree with him 100%. Another fellow said, if revenge is good, why does it has a bitter taste? So you see, we are living in the world that revenge is the order of the day. You do me, I do you. If we continue that way, we will not have a society that is filled with peace and harmony. Even some of us that are Christians, we will discover that it will be very difficult for us to serve God in that approach, because we have to live by example. So today we are going to mirror God, behave like God's children, and do what God does. So you ask yourself, if God were to be in this situation, how will he behave, or what will he do? So today we are going to be looking at the character of David in the Bible. Why was he called a man after God's heart? So after I have studied, I came to realize that there's one particular occasion in the Bible where David was behaving exactly like God. Let me just show you a bit of how God behaves. He forgives his enemies. He does not kill his enemies. He loves his enemies, and he wishes his enemies well. As a matter of fact, if by mistake God's enemy dies, God feels very sad. If you being a believer dies, is God's gain. That said, if you are familiar with the story of David and Saul in the Bible, Saul, literally tried to kill him. I think it was about 2 times or so. And then David escaped. And then he did not stop there. He went after this guy, like sometimes with a lot of people. So it was very obvious that any day he sees David, he will kill David. As a matter of fact, Saul was really after his life. There was a day that David just ran into one of those prophets, and then just to eat some bread, and then one of the Saul's ally was in that place. Later, they had to report to Saul that they have seen David with that prophet. You know what Paul did? He sent for the prophet, and his entire household was killed. Only one person escaped, which was one of the prophet's son, and then run into David's camp and report what just happened. So it was that serious that he really wanted to kill the guy. He was after the guy, but the guy had a clean heart, had a plain mind. He did not have anything against him. All he wanted to do was try to escape anytime he had an opportunity. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 24 verse 1, when you read, you will get the full gist there. Saul literally went with 3,000 men just to kill one person. So he was that serious, and David knew it. He kept running and running and running and running. So he kept running for his life. So David never had anything against the king of Israel. So he respected his office, he respected his person, and even behind the king, he would not say any bad thing against the king. I mean, someone that tried to kill him, someone that he knows very well that he's trying to kill him. Now, something very interesting happened that day that Saul went with 3,000 men, and then he literally slept off in one of those caves. And then David went there, cut some part of his clothes, took some few things around, and then moved away. And then he called him later and said, "Boss." And then Saul now turned. He said, and he was very shocked. He showed him most of the few things that he took from him. He said, "Look at this. This is an evidence that I would have killed you." Imagine that you were in such situation, somebody says after your life, and then you have an opportunity one-on-one with the person. What would you do? That question is left for you. But the guy did not do anything for him. He just told him, this is to show you that I do not have anything against you, but you are trying to kill me. Now this is what he said to his boys in 1 Samuel chapter 24 from verse 6. Very interesting. And he said unto his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is anointed of the Lord. So David stayed his servants with this word and suffered them not to rise against Saul. But Saul rose up out of the cave and went his way. Remember that something also happened. When David saw Saul, the first thing he did is he bowed his head and greeted him with all amount of humility and said, boss, I greet you specially. Somebody that tries to kill him, somebody that tried to destroy him. So he never tempered with God's anointed. He knew that God called Saul, and he never did anything contrary. So that is how God behaves. You see your enemies, you leave him alone. You see somebody that is trying to do you wicked thing, you leave him alone. You forgive him anyways. But someone say, why, if I have such opportunity, I will take him out. That's carnal. If you are patient enough and your mind is clear, I can bet you nobody can do you anything. If you are patient enough and your mind is clear and your hand is clean, God will find a way of escape. Just be sure that you have a clean mind, a clean heart, to be able to accommodate anything that is being done to you negatively, so that you'll be able to be like your Father which is in heaven. How does your Father in heaven behave? He makes the sun to shine to the good and to the bad. So God is not selective. His mercies endures forever. He forgives unconditionally. So what is the lesson here? Forgive and let it go. Is there anything bothering your heart that you have said, I can never forgive you, I can never forgive her? Remember that your Father in heaven is not like that. So your prayer should be, Father, help me to see me the way you see me. Amen.